a partnership between Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Friends of Zion Museum, led to the unprecedented visit.
It's the first time in history the State of Israel has officially partnered with 1,000 strategic pastors to commission them as ambassadors to combat anti-Semitism and reach the youth of their generation.
Dr. Mike Evans says Israel's fight is not just on the battlefield.
Right now there's an ideological war that Israel's losing. So they need the evangelicals, they need the Zionists to fight an ideological war.
One of the goals of this gathering is to strengthen Christian support during a time of growing global anti-Semitism. They say the pulpit must speak louder than the propaganda.
So it's just, I think, an extraordinary time for pastors to go to their pulpits and to speak with clarity and with boldness and to push back on the anti-Semitism, the bigotry that is being pushed toward Jewish people and toward the people of Israel.
Unfortunately, the pulpit has become quiet about those things. We've allowed cultural voices to speak louder to the congregation than the pastors have on these topics. So it's been motivating to make sure that we go back and bring the message of who Israel is to the Lord, and our role as Christians to continue to support and pray for Israel.
There's a growing cancer within the evangelical movement in America where people are thinking Israel doesn't matter and there's nothing biblical about our relationship to Israel. This is very dangerous.
Ambassador Huckabee, a former pastor, sees a rising danger in the church.
Because this idea that God will break his covenant, or he has broken his covenant with the Jewish people, it borders on blasphemy. Because if God will break his covenant with the Jewish people, what on earth makes me think as a Christian that he will keep his covenant with me?
Wednesday, the pastors went to the Nova Music Festival site where Hamas terrorists slaughtered 378 and kidnapped 44.
That was emotional. That was devastating. I have 4 teenage children in Austin. We go to music festivals. That's what you do in Austin. And to think about the kind of terror that those young people experienced, it's just unfathomable. I think that pastors and church leaders all need to come and understand and see the truth about the matter, the true story, and what actually happened here.
This gathering is a prelude to a massive campaign planned for next year.
We're launching in 2026 a global program to reach 1 million pastors and 1 million churches globally to teach them a biblical worldview so they realize God's not canceling any promises to the Jewish people, and he's not canceling to the Christians either.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakah Quadash. And look at the power of the word of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and what it's doing. You know, this truth is definitely, tearing down this man's empire, his stronghold. All right. Real quick. Thinking out loud. 2nd Ezra, chapter 6. Let's get that. All right. So this is 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 27. And it reads, it says, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which had been so long without fruit, shall be declared." And the truth is being declared. No matter what these devils do, all right, they got these sellouts, the pastors, and they're trying to infiltrate the church and, forward that propaganda, but it's not working. Okay, the world is waking up to the lies, man. All right, they're losing the narrative, as we've been telling you, right? Deuteronomy 33. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 29, it says, "Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places." Right? So again, let's go here. our enemies are being found as liars. Okay? And now, as I said, the world is starting to stand up. This is how you know this, hey, this thing is going to go down. All right? So real quick here before I get to my main part of this lesson here. This is from telegraph.co.uk. It says, all the ways Israel is being canceled. Right? All the ways Israel is being canceled. It says, from Eurovision boycotts to UN walkouts, the Jewish state is facing backlash in every area of public life since October 7th. See? Now, I got the article here summarized as a long article, so we'll just hit the points here. Okay? So it's a summary of Israel boycotts and cancellations since October 7th. It says the provided text details the widespread backlash, boycotts, and attempts to, quote, cancel Israel across various sectors of public life following the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023, and the subsequent war in Gaza. All right, so we'll just hit the points. So going down here, it says international organizations in general backlash. It says Eurovision, multiple countries, Spain, Ireland, Netherlands, considered boycotting the Eurovision Song Contest due to Israel's inclusion. All right, they don't even want them there. It says Guinness World Records. Let's go down. It says United Nations UN delegates staged a mass walkout during Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu address in September. UN Watch analysis showed the General Assembly condemned Israel in 174 resolutions since 2015 compared to 10 for Iran. Okay, it says academia, BDS campaign, the boycott, divestment, sanctions campaign intensified with European universities in Belgium, the Netherlands, Italy, and Spain increasingly voting to suspend agreements with Israeli institutions, right? It says instances of boycott. An association of Israeli universities task force recorded 300 instances of boycotts in the year after October 7th, which more than doubled to 700 a year later. This includes boycotts against individual researchers and institutions, right? Academic groups. The UN-founded International Sociological Association suspended the membership of Israeli public institutions, right? So what's happening, okay, nations are cutting ties, okay, and they're isolating both Israel and America, right? The Lord says you would be greatly despised. Obadiah 1:1, it says, this is the vision of the sovereign Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, revealed to Obadiah concerning the land of Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. This is in the NLT, right? Obadiah 1:1. It says, we have heard a message from the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that an ambassador was sent to the nations to say, get ready, everyone. Let's assemble our armies and attack Edom. Okay, and this is the spirit, the vibration that's in the earth now. Nations are ready for war against Esau, Edom. Okay, verse 2, the point, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua says to Edom, I will cut you down to size among the nations. You will be greatly despised. Okay, so this is what we're reading here in this article. Okay, the tiny tops are being canceled, man. People don't want to have anything to do with them. And as we saw the video in the beginning, all right, they got the sellout pastors. All right, they're trying to, keep that narrative going of these people being the true biblical Israelites. And it's not working. All right, so they have their sellouts in the forefront to keep that lie alive. But it's not going to work, right? Isaiah, just thinking out loud, Isaiah, was it 31? Because they're all going to fail together, right? Isaiah 31 in verse 2, it says, yet he also is wise and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of evildoers, all right? That's these sellouts, man, okay? but will arise against the house of evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. So that's these damn, fake ass Christian pastors, man. That took the bag, that are out there humping the wall, forwarding the agenda of the devil. All right, so they're in scramble mode right now. They're trying to keep that narrative going, but like we heard in the video, they're losing. They're losing the propaganda war, man. All right, but this is all prophecy here. Okay, it says, let's go back here in this article. It says a little bit more here in the summary. Military and defense, arms embargoes. Several European countries, including Spain, Slovenia, Belgium, and Norway, imposed complete bans on arms and military equipment exports/imports to Israel. Global South Coalition, 12 countries from the Global South formed a group to coordinate measures against Israel, including a comprehensive arms embargo. Signatories include Bolivia, Colombia, Cuba, and South Africa. All right, the world is standing up. Partial bans. Western countries like the UK suspended 30 out of 350 licenses. Canada, Germany, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, and the US imposed partial arms embargoes. A little bit more. Sport. All right. Retail. Okay, and we spoke about that before. They were boycotting, retail products, things that were made from Tiny Town, right? So on and so forth. All right. Politics. ICC warns the Labour Party indicated that it would adhere to International Criminal Court. Arrest warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu, a former defense minister, Yoav Gallant, contrasting with the conservatives. All right, so on and so forth. So you get it. All right, so again, these nations are separating themselves. All right, Esau would be greatly despised. This is Micah 2 and 3. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Shem Rashai, behold, against the family do I devise an evil, from which you should not remove your neck. So this is the time. As I was saying, now Esau, these devils, they can't escape. All right, they can't slither their way out of judgment, man. Okay, they're being singled out, called out, exposed. Okay, nations are isolating themselves from them. Okay, they're standing up to prepare for war. All these things, man. This is the prophecy. It says, behold, against this family do I devise an evil which you should not remove your necks, neither shall you go haughtily, for this time is evil. See? It says, verse 4, in that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation. That's the cry that's going out across the planet amongst all the nations. Okay, this is why the tiny tops are being canceled. All right, so like we were warning before, all of this rising, what they would label anti-semantics. This is how you know that something is being prepared that's going to be, it's going to be epic, man. Something major is getting ready to happen that's going to take the world by storm. All right, we're closer to whatever's getting ready to happen than ever, man. Okay, things are getting too intense. It's getting too hot. Okay. It says, in that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say we be utterly spoiled. For it says he have changed the portion of my people. How have you removed it from me? Turning away, he have divided our field. So my point again is that there's a great uprising against these frauds. Okay. This article here is from collapse.news. It says Maga divided. It says Z influence sparks GOP backlash over Israel first politics. So let's read these quick points. All right. The clash before the fall. All right. It says internal GOP conflict over Z influence. It says the MAGA movement is fracturing as Trump-aligned factions target America First conservatives like Representatives Massey and Green, accusing GOP leadership of prioritizing Israeli interests over U.S. sovereignty. All right, this is why these Americans are pissed. All right, and we're going to see that clash of Egyptian versus Egyptian. Isaiah 19 and 2. It says, Christian Z doctrine exposed. Former Z, Gary Heaven, revealed how Rothschild-funded theology, Schofield Bible, distorted Christian teachings to justify unconditional Israel support despite its genocidal actions in Gaza. See that? Everything's getting exposed. It says Trump's pro-Israel stance alienates conservatives. Trump's loyalty to not a Jew risk losing America First voters, especially as he attacks dissenters like Massey, while AIPAC funds primarily challengers to purge anti-Z Republicans. It says Democrats could exploit GOP divisions. If Trump continues sidelining American interests for Israel, independents may abandon the GOP, handing Democrats control in 2028 and accelerating the globalist domination. All right, which is all heading there regardless. All right. It says last point, call for decentralized resistance. Heaven and Mike Adams urged patriots to fight censorship, expose Z infiltration, defend free speech against potential Trump-backed crackdowns on criticism of the tiny top. See, which he had made mention, those that are involved in semantics, they need the death penalty. They want to throw people in prison and all these things, man. So this is where America is at right now. All right. That's why I said the fall of this place will be epic. Okay. This is Job. All right. Before we get to the revolution, right? This is Job 18. And let's start at 5 here. Job 18 and 5, it says, yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. So this is the end of Esau's reign. Okay, he's getting ready to be put out, put down. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. So right now, as we see it, his strength, his power is being straightened. Okay, he's losing his dominance. He's losing his power, his influence. Okay, starting with these damn tiny tops, right? Verse 8, for he is cast into a net by his own feet and walketh upon a snare, right? It says, the gin shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. All right, the robber representing Yahweh Shai. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. All right, because everything about the society, the economy, the military, all right, eventually is going to collapse and fall. All right, and the Lord has nuclear war set up for him as that snare and trap. All right. It says verse 11. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. And destruction shall be ready at his side. And that's what's being prepared now. Okay. 13, and it shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. All right, nuclear destruction is on the way. Verse 16, his roots shall be dried up beneath, and above his branch shall be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. All right, this is the end of the Edomite, man. Okay? Verse 18, the point, he shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. So as we opened up this lesson, this is an example of him being chased out of the world. All right, being canceled, the nations separating themselves, isolating themselves. Okay, the propaganda is no longer working. All right, people are standing up to the lies, all of that, man. Now he's being chased out of the world, you know? So now they're doing everything to sell out pastors, all of that, as we just saw here, man. None of this is going to work. All right? Now I want to get to this, man, because this is going to add into the clash that's coming, as Tucker Carlson was talking about here. All right? This came out yesterday. Tucker Carlson, we're going to have a revolution. All right? So read between the lines. Listen to what these Edomites are saying. All right?
Come on, dude. We're moving toward one of two endpoints. One is a totalitarian society where you just don't have the option of disagreeing. You have to obey because you've got programmable digital currency and universal surveillance, and you just have to do what they say or they'll starve you to death.
It's not going to work here.
I hope it. I pray it doesn't.
It's not gonna work.
We're going to have a revolution. It's one of the two. We're getting totalitarian government or revolution.
It's going to work for a little bit, and then it's not going to work anymore.
I pray you're right. I'm a gold buyer on that basis, an ammo buyer, but again, I have no track record of seeing the future, but I'm convinced that the current course won't work because it's a lie. If you tell people they own the government, they're in charge, they rule through the representatives in this democratic republic, that's what we've told, that's our system, has been for 250 years. If you tell them that's the system and you don't deliver on it, they go crazy. They go totally crazy. If you tell them, by the way, I've spent a lot of time in
What do you think happens when a government takes everybody's currency in a country that has more fucking guns and ammunition than anywhere else in the entire world?
I mean, as I've said a million times,
It works for a little bit. And then when the desperation kicks in, that shit doesn't fucking work.
Well, so that's exactly, we're saying the same thing. We're moving toward totalitarianism or revolution, violent revolution.
A violent revolution is coming. It's going to be mass death, man. All right? This is prophecy. Again, 2 Ezra 15. All right? This is what they're saying without saying it. All right? 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, draweth near. The destruction is coming. And one people shall stand up and fight against another in swords in their hands. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another they should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. This is what these two Edomites are talking about. Okay?
By the way, if you tell people they can't say what they think and their vote doesn't matter, how many options have you left for them? Just one. Violence.
Very fucking many.
That's right. So don't do that. Don't do that. It's much better to give a little. And you do this with your kids, especially when they become teenagers. You reach a point where it's like, you can smell the defiance on them. How do I handle this? Just punch them in the face? Cut them off? Starve them out? No. You listen. You make it clear that you're in charge. You'll be deciding. But you take their position into consideration because you have to, because they're becoming adults. You have to be a little flexible. No, you can't smoke weed at the breakfast table. Like, there's some things you will never accept. But you can't ignore every single signal you're getting from your children. Well, your population's very similar.
I'm getting really angry right now.
Why?
I think we should go. I think we should go out back and blow some shit.
Sorry.
Where do we go from here? So.
Well, it's always darkest before it's completely black, as you know. Sorry, I'm stealing someone else's line, but I do like that line. I don't know. I mean, clearly just in political terms, we're at the end of something and the beginning of something new.
Yeah, see? What is he talking about? They're about to roll in this new, this NWO. As we've been doing lesson after lesson, the B system, the AI infrastructure, the MOTB, all right? This, how you say the word, authoritarian dystopian system. This is what they're telling you, man. And these Edomites are prepared to fight.
And no one wants change. I don't, but we're not in control. And the current system clearly doesn't match the moment at all. And so it's changing. And it'll change along probably predictable lines, but also in some unpredictable ways. But I'm for democracy. Most people are not. The overwhelming majority of people don't want democracy. They just don't want it. They don't like it. It's tedious and annoying and too imperfect, and they want results. And so we're moving towards something that is not what we had before. And, you know, I'm not in favor of that. I wish we could return to 1985, but we can't. So, but you have to just reduce the amount of lying. Like, lying is bad. Lying is bad. It alienates you from other people. It alienates our leaders from their people they lead. Everything about it is bad. Just no more. Let's just stop lying.
Gen Zers are definitely not responding to the traditional bullshit. I mean, you had mentioned that they're, you know, that Nick Fuentes they are gravitating towards that. Then you got, you know, the other side, Memdani, you know, just won mayor of New York. I mean, what in your mind, what do you think?
They're branches
10,
of the same
20 years
tree.
from now, what does it look like?
I mean, look,
does it look the same?
I feel weird speaking for people 30 years younger than me or more. What do I know? But I have actually made an intensive, longitudinal, good faith effort to find out because I matter. Plus, I've got a ton of kids in that age range. And my impression right now is that, of course, they're enraged. Both sides are enraged by people serving Israel. What? Stop with the Israels. Be quiet. Nobody cares about Israel. Just shut up about Israel.
See, this is the spirit. This is everything we was talking about, man. That MAGA divide. Okay, you know what's going on? The cancellation. Okay, this is this is the time. Right? We'll play a little bit more, and you can watch the rest on your own. Right?
But I don't think it's primarily about Israel. I really don't. I don't think people care that much. I know I don't care at all about Israel. I really think it's about economics. I really do. I think that's what Mamdani and Fuentes have in common. And there are a bunch of people who want to pretend it's about ethnic hate or even about foreign policy. I don't believe that. I don't think the evidence shows that. I think what they're really mad about is the lack of opportunity, economic opportunity that they know they're facing. And then if you look at the debt loads, that's what I look at. Like how much debt does the average 30-year-old have and who does he owe it to? And it's overwhelming. It's like unbelievable. I had 10 grand on a credit card once. I mean, I literally couldn't sleep over it because that was weird. You know, 25 years ago, 10 grand. I just didn't make enough money. I had to get another job. It was fine. But debt is the problem for young people. And what's so infuriating and alienating is that both parties are completely on the side of the lenders and not the debtors. And in fact, it's a symbiotic relationship. There is no borrowing without lending and vice versa. They are engaged in this dance, and ultimately one is basically exploiting the other. That's just a fact. And no one will acknowledge that. So the Democratic Party is like, well, everyone has too much student loan debt. Well, so who's benefiting from student loan? Well, the student loan lenders are benefiting, of course, but so are the colleges. They're being subsidized for like garbage. It's garbage, right? They're getting rich from these student loans. The colleges are, and their administrators, and then so are the lenders. But
yeah, you watch the rest of that, man. So, hey, everything surrounds the, you know, all the tension surrounds the tiny top. All right. So again, as I quoted, I might as well get it. Isaiah 19, Egyptian versus Egyptian. All right, it's coming. All right. Hey, the how they say it, the revolution won't be televised. All right, but hey, in this time, that revolution gonna be televised, man. It's gonna be seen, and it's gonna be epic. Isaiah 19:2, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. All right, you got these because hey, at the end of the day, these are all Edomites, man. All right, from different tribes or whatever the case is, but the Amalekites, the small hat, all right, they have everybody in debt slavery, man, in oppression. All right, they literally run America. And that's the problem. Okay, so we're going to see what's going to happen here, man. And it says, and they should fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, man. So we're there, man. Okay, what more can we say? Shalom. This article here is from collapse.news. It says Maga divided. It says Z influence sparks GOP backlash over Israel first politics.